Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Hometime. This is the second generation watch, debuted at SIHH 2008. It's 40 millimeters in diameter, features 2 time zones, all in polished stainless steel. You can see it and you can buy it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos. And please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images, and naturally complete pricing details for this Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Hometime second generation. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. It's important to talk about fit and feel, but also contrast the watch to its predecessor, the 2004 to 2007 Master Hometime. Now, this watch is a little bit smaller in outright size and much finer in its details. 40 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the crown, compares to 41.5 for its predecessor, but it's the visual mass of the bezel, the case, and the lugs that's pared down significantly to transform the way this one looks and feels compared to the original. The original was a bit ungainly, a case culled from dive watches and repurposed for what could best be described as an everyday watch, neither a sports watch nor a dress watch. This is a reference that should be versatile, and with its reprofiled case and lugs, it really is that now. Now it's nice and slim, only 12 millimeters thick, so with a conical bezel it slides underneath the dress cuff quite easily. As I mentioned, versatile. From lug to lug, it measures 47.5 millimeters, so it has a nice span across the wrist that works well with many wrists. You can wear this watch, in my estimation, on a wrist down to as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference with security and style. Now it's paired with a reasonably bolstered, monotone-stitch, rectangular scale, medium brown alligator leather strap. You can see the bolstering swells a little bit as it approaches the lugs, and also that there's a little bit of curvature to the spring bar, both features helping to create a more integrated aesthetic. And the watch features Jaeger-LeCoultre's first generation double deployant buckle, a little bit easier to work with on smaller wrists. It doesn't have that one big up and over fold of a single fold deployant, so if you do like to buckle your watch down to the smallest apertures, as I do on my small wrist, this isn't going to bite you. It also has a beautiful classical look when buckled, because the buckle itself is of a low classical profile. It looks like a pin buckle when closed, but it gives you the security of a double fold deployant. Now the watch features all high polished stainless steel, so while it's not as large as its predecessor, it does have an impressive wrist stance because, let's face it, polish makes a watch look larger, and so does the expansion of the dial in relation to the bezel. This watch has a thinner, finer bezel than its predecessor, which allows the dial to open up and breathe. All polished and faceted dart-style indices, with the exception of the Arabic numeral 9 and the double dart at 12 o'clock. Now, this watch does have a much more balanced dial than its predecessor, which featured off-center complications and displays. This one nicely counterweighted. The marquee counterweights the aperture of the date. The 24-hour reference time dial counterweights the sub-seconds. It's clean, it's handsome, it's balanced, it's graceful, and it features alpha-style hands, lightly blackened at center. Now they're half frosted, and you can see that the watch retains the hidden reference time zone hand of its predecessor. So when you want, you can clean the dial up, superimpose the local hour hand over the reference hour hand, and it simply becomes an AM/PM indicator at 12 o'clock for the time where you are. Now, of course, when the time comes to begin changing your local time, and the local time, of course, will drive the date, while the reference hour hand drives the 24-hour display. Now you have the utility of a dual time zone watch, and there is a small amount of luminescent material on those elegant alpha hands, not the reference time, but the local hour and minutes. Now on the case back, the great innovation of the 2000s at Jaeger-LeCoultre wasn't a grand complication. It was actually the caliber 975 auto tractor, and this is it in its original form. The automatic winding dual time. You could see a full dual anchored balance bridge and a free-sprung balance, two features for which Rolex is renowned, and they're present here to give the watch great stability against shock. It also has efficient unidirectional winding, a great departure from historic Jaeger-LeCoultre, for instance, 889 calibers that were known for smooth bidirectional winding. Field tests actually prove that unidirectional is more efficient, and the watch gets a step up in power reserve from the earlier 889s with 48 hours versus the 38 to 40 on the original 889s. Are there more refinements? You better believe it. Spire profile drivetrain gears. a hairspring of JLC's own design welded at the stud and the collet, that's both ends of the hairspring, for more stability against shock, unlubricated ceramic rotor bearings on that unidirectional winding 22-karat gold mass, and the watch features a handsome amount of hand finish. It's partly hand finished, it's partly machine finished, but JLC has always been very honest about the fact that its movements, unless you're talking about grand complication, are a mix of the two. So there's a lot of authenticity here because you get what you pay for. Certain elements are artisanal, kiln-fired, true heat-blued screws, for instance. In other cases, you can see assembly posts that made it a little bit easier to assemble the 975 and 976 auto-tractor-based calibers compared to their predecessors. But again, one of the things setting this movement apart from something like Rolex or an Omega 8500 is that there is still that element of artisanal finish, assembly, and adjustment that you don't get in the mass-market brands, even at this price point, even in a steel timepiece. You can see and you can purchase this versatile Jaeger-LeCoultre automatic dual time on our website.